Eva in. Oh, so good to see you guys. I missed you all not seeing you on Monday. Thank you again for your understanding with that whole thing. Still trying to navigate that, but we've got a plan. So I appreciate all of your support. All right, Eva's trying to join. Here we go. Hey, Eva. All right,
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good today.
Awesome. It looks like you're outside. That's beautiful. Love the vibes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's start with some wins. And since we're a small group right now, if you're able to talk, we'll kind of go through you can unmute. If not, no big deal. You don't have to participate, or you could drop it in the chat. Who would like to, excuse me, start?
I can start.
All right.
Um, so I had a consultation call yesterday with a surrogate mom. Never have I ever thought I would do that. But I was actually talking to Lisa about it, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Multiple times she cried, and so I had told Lisa that like I feel like that was a good win. Like we had talked about. You know, I word things on my website kind of vaguely because yes, I want to be a VBAC doula, but like I don't want to like I think that everybody deserves a doula. And so like that was one of the things she had asked about was like nothing on your website indicates that you service like surrogates. And I was like, listen, like I can attend to your birth wishes in any way that I can possibly can. And so we had talked about a couple of different plans that I feel like I would be, I guess, the best fit for her. But overall, yeah, I call it a win because yeah, we got very deep and emotional, and it was great. And then not too long after that, another lady like had reached out to me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, I am looking for a doula. I'm a first-time mom." And I was like, "That I have tons of experience with." So yeah, that was this morning, and she's feeling a lot more clarity because her birth right now is running into like, let's get you on the calendar, let's talk about inductions. And so we had talked about again, like, if I was your doula, like, here is the approach that I would take, just given like my experience with inductions, first time moms, um, and then a couple clients in the past that I've had, like, I've just been specifically just like the coach for dad. And so that was also something that we talked about. And
Love it.
I call that a win too, because at the end of the call, she's like, I'm feeling so much better about this already. But I also have another call with another consultation call with another doula tomorrow. But I'm taking the wins as it comes.
Yeah, I think you should be so proud of yourself, Ashley. I mean, this is like momentum like I've never seen for you, and I think it's just gonna snowball from here. I really do. So, kudos to you. So, are both of them interviewing someone else today, tomorrow?
uh, yes, actually, both of them are today. Yes.
Okay,
Well, yeah,
okay.
sorry. Yep, today and tomorrow. Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
So,
and one thing Ashley and I talked about, hi everyone. So good to see you all. One thing we talked about was, kind of that timeline thing of where our logical brain is like, I'm just gonna wait until they've interviewed the other doula and then I will like reach out days after that. And I think that like we talked about the opportunity to initiate that follow-up, like respecting the timeline they gave you. But if we know that they're having a second interview today, there's no reason why we can't reach out like this evening or tomorrow morning, to start that follow-up process, And I think like it sounds like you're willing to try that. And I just want to be a voice in your head that's like, it's not too much to be like following up closer than we think we should, like within 24 hours, within 48 hours. Um, Especially if they've made it easy on us by saying, oh, my interview's on Wednesday. That is like the best case scenario because we're not out of our realm to like touch base Wednesday evening and stay top of mind, if that makes sense. It's like showing more love, honestly. That's how I look at it. Yeah, I love it. Congratulations. Keep us posted and don't hesitate. Like, if you need some support in any way, shape, or form, like as you're setting up the follow-up or as you get through the process. So.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we just started with some wins. So good to see all of your faces. Today we're talking about simplicity, but let's just kind of celebrate you all. You can either unmute and just go for it or drop it in the chat or just listen, whatever works.
I can go. I'm revamping my website kind of instead of just
Mhm.
sales pages to be like menus options instead of like the specific sales pages. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to work. So
Okay,
I've done a
cool.
lot of work on website stuff this week and it feels like I've accomplished something.
Yay. That is the best feeling in the world when we're solopreneuring, right? Awesome. Cool. That's exciting, Jamie. I'm excited for all these shifts because I feel like they're very much in alignment for you. Yay. Who else? Who else would like to celebrate something with us?
I had a really rough Monday, as you probably saw, like in the comments, and I was just really down about that. Two leads, one of them which like I felt really strongly about, like when I say like they had like such good energy on my call with her, like I was genuinely surprised with her response. And then I sent her a version of the message that you told me to send her, and I still haven't heard back from her. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then yesterday I heard from a person that I had a call with like 2 months ago and like kind of ghosted me. Like I sent some follow-ups and then she like reached back out and she was like, I am so sorry. Like she's had a lot of health things going on. It's just been chaotic. And she actually like asked if we could do like another consult just kind of like as a refresher. And we had really good energy on that call too. So we're going to work on scheduling that. And then today I was nurturing a lead that I had like a person that followed me. And this is like
Yay.
the first time I've actually like messaged, not the first time I messaged someone, but the first time I messaged someone and then it like led to them um getting on my email list because we were talking and we were super aligned and I said, "Oh, would you be interested in some blog posts that are actually on the things that we were talking about?" And so I sent her those and she immediately like messaged me back and was like, "I just started reading the first one that you sent me and I'm already crying. I'm like, thank you so much. This has already put me so much at ease." So we messaged back and forth a little bit more. And then I said, would you actually be interested in joining my email list so that you get like all my latest blog posts and kind of stay in touch with that? And she said, yeah, 100%. So she joined that. And then obviously, like in my weekly email, it also brings up my toolkit, which I think will be like a good thing for her. So hopefully that will lead to
Yay.
that. And she's not even actually even pregnant yet. She's just trying to conceive right now, but and she would be a virtual client because she's in California, but she seems like super into everything that my page has to offer. So I think that's a big
Yay.
win for me.
That is a huge win. Like, because I think it only takes one DM conversation to actually convert to something for us to be like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel weird. Right? Like it only takes one, you know? That's so great. I'm happy for you. And I just want to validate, like, oh man, have I been there where I thought the call went incredible and then like it didn't, turn into what I thought it would. And it's like it's just part of it, but it's not easy. And I just want to validate for you that like I'm so glad you brought the emotions to us so that we can normalize it and be there for you and remind you that it's not something you did wrong. I think it's really powerful to have community around sales because it could be super isolating. It's just so easy to attach our worth to outcomes, but if we're here together to remind us that's not the case, I think it's really important. So,
Yeah, I just had like a quick follow up
please.
because one thing that was a little frustrating to me with my last three like consults that have ended up in no's is that they were all some variation of, oh, I'm just going to have like my mom and my husband support me, or I'm going to have like my friend who had, like, it wasn't even like their a doula that they found. It was like my friend who had a doula is going to support me because she had a
Yeah.
doula and like learn this from her, which like can I just be honest? It's like it feels like a little like insulting of like the doula profession. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely different. So I don't know if you can just speak towards like how to respond to that in general to like make it clear like well doulas are like different than like your mom
Yeah.
supporting you. Like nothing wrong with having your mom there, but like it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, that's a really, I mean, that is probably like, in my opinion, one of the hardest objections because it's one of those objections where you have like the least amount of control, right? Like if it's price, if it's time commitment, if it's something that you can speak to like the value. Um, and I think like obviously there's always a way, but that's probably like the trickiest. So I think that if it were me, like you're gonna have to do what feels aligned for you and what you're comfortable with. But if it were me, I would kind of be like, listen, there is a reason that you reached out, and I'm just being real with you. Like, this consultation was not for nothing. Like, there was something pulling at you to invest in professional, expert support. And so I would try to mirror back to like that true underlying reason and almost try to get them to put that into words. They might even have a hard time putting that into words, but like to just give them the open door to really spill their guts on like the ultimate reason that they like reached out to a professional before they let their logical brain be like, well, it'd be cheaper if I had my mom there and like I'm already comfortable with her and she's given birth before, like all the logical things that she thinks justify that decision. Um, and then I definitely think this is one of those things where it's like we cannot push somebody into doing something. And so um it's hard. It's a hard swallow when it's like you know what's best for her, but at the end of the day, if she thinks she knows what's best for her, obviously she knows what's best for her, right? And so it's kind of like it's kind of one of those things. But I think I would try to there comes a time where I'm like at my last resort type of stuff. And that's when I start to try to be as human as possible. And I'll be like, listen, I just want to remind you that like if you're being honest with yourself, like you signed up for this call for a reason. Like your gut was telling you that you needed professional expert, support. And I just want to be a voice for you to kind of remind you of that initial pull that you felt and try to just get them to kind of bring themselves back to that. Um, and then when it's over, it's over, you know? Yeah, Natalie, I'd love to hear.
Okay, so let me pull up the document one second.
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
so I basically took a lot of the objections that we were discussing and put them into chat because I
Love
wanted to
it.
understand why the objection exists in the first place, so the deeper why.
Yeah.
And then it broke it down into the actual objection, and then I have a warm response, then I have a doula role response.
Hmm.
So basically the deeper why was desires for emotional comfort. They may not understand professional versus personal support, hoping someone close can fill in the gap without understanding the weight of the role in and of itself, cultural dynamics around who's expected to be present. So
Mhm.
those are some of the deeper whys. The objection in and of itself was like, we want our sister, mom, or friend there, so we might not need a doula. The warm, reflective response that I kind of worked with in creating with chat was that makes a lot of sense. Having someone you love and trust by your side can be incredibly grounding. Just to explore a bit more, have you and your mom slash sister slash friend talked about what kind of role they want to play during the birth? Like whether they're there mostly for emotional support or whether they feel ready to help with the hands-on guidance or advocacy if things get intense.
Love that.
Because like, and then also like, and this might break down into the doula response part, but I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I'd rather have my friend there, I'd rather have my mom there, but without knowing that like that can be a big burden on the member of the family because it is a big responsibility to
Yeah.
support somebody in that capacity, and they might not necessarily be as emotionally available or as like like informational, like have that much information there to support them as much as they need to, but also like if their partner is there, their partner is doing probably some of the more personal comfort stuff. And then if their mom is there, their mom is probably like running around. But in regards to like the actual training aspect of it, they only know as much as they've been exposed to. Whereas like
Yeah.
we know more in-depth ways to kind of help them. So highlight with that response, the warm response, kind of highlighting your training and highlighting like your personal experience in navigating multiple clients and seeing the different scenarios that can come about, whereas like their personal family member may only have witnessed one specific type of issue that may have arisen. So that
Yeah,
kind of gives us a leg up on like
totally.
our support being priority or being like more appropriate. And then the doula role response is I hear you. Having someone you love and trust by your side can be incredibly grounding. I always encourage people to include support that feels emotionally meaningful to them. Where I come in and how I show up is a little different. As your doula, I'm trained to navigate the flow of labor, offer physical and emotional support, and help you understand your options in real time. This means your mom or your sister or your friend can stay connected to the moment as your loved one without the pressure of trying to know what to do or manage the medical side of things. So we'll work together to hold space for you if you're surrounded by both love and skill.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that it hits all the points, like, which is that you're almost like offering this woman something because you care, but you're unlocking these things that she might be subconsciously fearing and also giving her language to use. You know what I mean? Yeah, so Nat, I love how Natalie kind of like used chat in a way to really get underneath it. It's really just putting it into words, right? Like we know that everything Natalie said is the case, but it's like putting it into a concise message like that. I think that's where AI can really help. I love it. I love it. And I
Thank you
almost,
both so much.
yeah. Yeah, I almost like I'm curious if it's even possible to kind of just reopen the convo one more time with some of that stuff to just see what happens, you know? Because like I said, I find myself where I'm like, well, what do I have to lose? Like, what's the harm in sending one more message? Like, potentially she's gonna come back and say, stop messaging me. But I've actually like never really had that happen. You know, not really, to be honest. So, which is surprising. I think people are more open to ghosting than they are to say stop. So, okay, that was so good, Natalie. I appreciate you sharing that. Doon, doon, doon. Yeah, same. Jamie and Alex are bringing up like such good points too, is they might not really fully understand the role, um, or they just have like a little bit of a misconception of I don't know. I honestly think my favorite part of that was the beginning part about like, have you had a conversation about the role that they want to play? Because that to me, like, probably unlocks all sorts of stuff for this woman. Like, oh man, like, I better check in with so and so because what I'm thinking they're going to provide, they may not be on the same page. And now you've just kind of like inserted yourself as the solution. So, love that. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else want to share a win? Personal, professional, big, small. What can we celebrate for you? And then we'll dive in.
I had my consult on Monday.
Yay.
It was a referral from a PT,
Okay.
which was nice.
Yeah.
I thought it went well. She kind of was my like in alignment with my ICA, but
Okay.
the thing is that she didn't really she wanted a doula because a lot of her friends had like quote unquote emergency cesareans, and she didn't want to go down that path. She kind of wanted to like let her body do what her body does. She didn't have a vision for her birth,
Okay.
other than her husband being there, her doula being there, and probably like whoever the professional medical staff would be. So I kind of tried to help her get an idea that her birth can be a little bit more than just that. So she can kind of start thinking about the process.
Hmm.
She did ask how many births I've attended, and I usually go into, I haven't attended any births yet. However, I've been focused in postpartum for the last year and change, and I think that with the experiences that I've had with families in that department, I would like to position myself in the birth space to help them transition more, I guess, to have to help them have more supported outcomes as they transition into the postpartum realm.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought I explained it a little bit better during the consult than I
Sure.
am right now. And I
Yeah.
think it landed well. I sent a follow-up email because she had a meeting to go to. I said, would it be helpful if I send you a summary of what we discussed and include next steps to go forward with booking me as your doula? She said, yeah, sure. So I sent her an email with a summary of what we talked about and then my birth package, in addition to the add-ons that she was asking about or inquiring about. I sent that on Monday. I have yet to hear back from her.
Okay.
When would be an appropriate time to check in again?
I think today, honestly, like I think that, a couple of days is plenty of time if somebody is like asking for space to think. Um, and it's you, like I said, it's you showing that you care by circling back to take next steps, to make sure she got your email, to remind her of something big that came up in the conversation, and even asking something like, has any what has come up for you since our talk, to kind of reopen the door. I am curious to ask, like, when you were, kind of rounding out the consultation, do you feel like she threw any objections at you? And if not, do you feel like there was a really concrete ask? And the only reason I'm asking that is because I think it's like a really helpful discussion for all of us.
Yeah, no, she didn't bring up any objections. We kind of ended the consult with any questions that she may have had for me,
Okay. Yeah.
which was basically, she's like, I want to know a little bit more about you and the services that you provide. And I summarized that. She also asked about add-ons that she can add
Okay.
to her package, and I included that. And then I think her final question was in regards to whether or not I have attended a birth before.
Okay.
Um, so I gave her that explanation, and I don't think we ended it. I'll be very honest. I didn't end it with a ask for the sale because she had to go and we literally reached
Oh,
the
I hate
half an
that.
hour mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, I have to go to my meeting, but this was great. And I'm like, would it be helpful if I sent you a summary of what we discussed, including but not limited to my services and the things that you can add on to the package to customize the support that you need? She said, yeah, sure, that would be great. And I'm like,
Okay.
awesome. I look forward to connecting with you again. And I'll go ahead and I'll send that email to you as soon as possible. She's like,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. And then that was the end of the call.
Yeah, I definitely, that's not going to be the first time. I mean, time constraints can definitely be a thing. I've run into that quite a bit. And so I think like you could even use the real-time information and say like, I know that we were unable to dive deep into like my custom options, and I want to see what's coming up for you since our chat. And then I think it's okay to really assume the sale in this situation in a way, like to form a question that's kind of like, were you leaning more towards this package or this package? And kind of just like see what she comes back with, because then you might come up with some objections to then deep dive and figure out like how to help her get there. Um, so that would be my recommendation, is like following up today or tonight, and maybe like using the fact that she had to jump off, um, as like a just a little door opener to say like, I want to make sure that you get clarity on my different options, which one are you leaning towards, and just kind of like assuming the sale in that way and seeing what she comes back with, which is very likely an objection, because most people will throw an objection even if they know they're going to buy. Um, so I think that could be a good strategy. How does that feel as far as like a game plan?
I would love to do that, but I think also the way I concluded my email was more so of like, I feel like I assumed it, but also I feel like I kind of left it in her hands as
Yeah.
opposed to truly assuming the sale.
Yeah.
Another concern that I have was that my initial follow-up email was a little bit long,
Okay.
um, with the summary process and then the breakdown of my services and then the next steps. It was a pretty lengthy email.
Okay.
Um, the way I concluded the email for the next step process was basically like, if you're ready to move forward, the next step would be to sign the contract and pay the retainer fee. I'd love to lock in your due date into my calendar, but please note that I only take on one family at a time to ensure I can provide the best possible care. I do have another family seeking postpartum care around your due date, so the sooner you decide, the better chance you'll have of securing me as your doula. Let me know if you'd like to move forward, and we can discuss the details of the contract as well as the next steps for getting you officially booked. Looking forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah. I would say don't worry. Like the email is sent, you made sure she had all of the info. It's totally okay in my opinion to reach out and now pull more on the emotions, like reconnect with her. What's coming up for you? Very like broad, but very much like what's coming up, let me know. And not worrying about the length of the email, not worrying about like you put the ball in her court, but 90% of the time we do that, but then they don't take the action anyway. And that's where we step into that leadership role and say, like, I'm gonna help you move forward because I know this is like scary and a big deal. So you're not, I just want you to know you're not like pushy in any way by revisiting this today and she's got the email, she's got the info, but I think it warrants like another discussion, asking her what's coming up, asking her which package she's leaning towards, seeing what objection she throws at you, and just staying grounded. Like you're on the right path, And we learn from every single one of these, right? Like I guarantee if you said I'm going to do a quick 20-minute debrief right now of that consult, there's like three or four things that you would take into your next one and be even better. And that's what we all do every time. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm super excited for you because I know you haven't had a ton of birth consults.
right.
So I mean, I think you did a phenomenal job considering this isn't like your normal yet. Um, and it'll get easier and easier and easier. But yeah, I say follow up and I say like be Natalie. Like I want you to follow up maybe a voice note or a text, something more casual. Like if she hasn't responded to the email, let's try a different avenue and make it like conversational and like vibe with her because now she's got the info. So now I want you to just focus on the emotion and the vibe and the connection because that's you. I mean, like you're the type, Natalie, that it's like I want to hang out with you on the weekend. Like that's the vibe that you give off, in my opinion, which is amazing. And so
Well,
I think like lean into that, be funny, like be yourself and the professionalism's out of the way now. Like now just be yourself. Like just connect with her. Like just get her to open up. And I think that's going to be your best strategy moving forward with this one.
okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'll
Okay.
send a text message because I did send a text to her the day of because there was a bit of a schedule
Yeah,
confliction
yeah,
with my
yeah.
dog. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
I
I
hope
could do
that's
that.
all. Is the dog better?
She is a bit better, but she's still not eating as much as she should. She's on a lot of medication. She's older. She's 12.
Yeah,
So it
that's
was a bit
tough.
of a scare that I was like, "Oh my God, her life is ending." But yeah,
Yeah,
no, she's a bit better now. She's home. So
good. I'm glad you did
yeah.
what you needed to do for your family because I know even when I canceled Monday's call, like there's that voice that you're like, you're letting people down, you're not being
Right.
reliable. And it's like, you know what? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And she was super understandable too, which was helpful as well.
good.
So
Cool. I love how
thank
we're
you.
turning the wins into these like lessons. It's getting me excited.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoy this. This is like my favorite way to kind of like break things down. Okay, I want to hear from Cassie and Alex quick, and then we will jump into some simplicity sells magic.
Hey,
Hi, good to see you.
what is my win this week? I have not quit. Uh,
Yay!
Yay. I don't know. I'm like not really discouraged or anything. I'm like in a slump of like bleh.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing really like too business exciting to announce. Um, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
still going.
You're still going. You're still like, you're leaning into that consistency. And I think that that is like really what separates entrepreneurs that, you know, kind of like let the ups and downs rule their lives. And I just think that you've got your eye on the prize. You understand the value of consistency. You believe in your message. Like, kudos to you, my friend.
And I'm excited for this discussion on simplicity because I need to simplify without like simplifying to nothing.
Yeah, I get it.
I need to not oversimplify because
Yeah.
that's currently kind of where I'm at. So I
Okay.
need to like simplify less, which means I need to simplify better.
Okay.
Anyway,
I love that. No, I think that'll add a lot to the discussion, which will be great. Here for you always. Cassie, good to see you too.
Oh, I wasn't even on mute this whole time.
I know.
Sorry. I was
That's
being
fine. You
quiet
weren't
though.
making any noise.
Sorry
None.
about that. I never
No.
join on my phone, but
Yeah.
um yeah, things are good. I guess my win is that I actually just disconnected from business for the last 5 days, really. Just like barely checked in, and now I have today to kind of catch up on like key things, but I'm not really planning on reconnecting till next week again.
I love
So,
it. You're
yeah,
here. You're connected as far as I'm
I'm
concerned.
here. I'm here.
Thank you for
Yeah,
being
and I just
here.
wanted to be here. Like as I ease back into it, I just wanted to like be part of a group and hear from real life people,
Yay.
not just write emails.
I'm so glad you took some time. I think that is like so important. It's really working for me lately, and I just think it's really a good thing to try when we feel like we need to be everywhere all the time. It could be exhausting. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I love it. I love the energy of today overall, and I'm so appreciative of all of you. I think I just really missed Monday's call. Okay, so I want to just throw some thoughts out there, start with some like discussion topics, and then we'll kind of work through the more tactical stuff. But I think that this module is really important to me because we need to shift our perspective a lot of times that like more offers with doesn't equate to more income always. Because I think sometimes like we do get stuck in creation mode. And part of that is because when we're in the early stages or the test stages of our business, because I still feel like I'm in test mode, right? Like it's that never ends. But when we start to do the like, I'm gonna try all these things, trial all of these things, we tend to not bring ourselves back to like the core message and the core offer. And so I'm hoping today we can get some clarity around like where do all these roads lead? Is there any fat that I can cut away? Am I missing anything? And how can I make that journey for the client from the minute they have you on their radar all the way to the purchase? How can I make that a better one and an easier one? So I think that's like the overarching theme today. And I think there is an emotional side of simplifying things. Like for me personally, and this might resonate with some of you, it's like fear of leaving money on the table, versus like the reality of creating space for more sales. That's like an emotional thing, like tug of war that goes on for a lot of us. And I also think there's like some decision fatigue that can happen not only for your audience, but also for ourselves. If you have too many things that you're selling, especially if they don't all lead back to one thing. So those are kind of, oh, and then there's one more thought that I had too, like as overarching themes, which is that like repetition in your message might start to feel boring for you, but it 100% builds trust for your audience. So we almost always have to remind ourselves that we've said the same thing over and over 1,000 different ways, but that doesn't mean that our audience is fatigued in hearing it. In fact, it's usually the opposite. The more they hear it, all the different ways they hear it from us, it finally starts to sink in. So repetition is your friend, and I think a really critical piece when it comes to simplifying things. Okay. Um, so let's see. Let's talk a little bit about signature offers. Let me know if you're struggling with this one. Otherwise, I want you to really like make a mental note or write down like what is my signature offer? What is the one thing that I would really prefer all roads lead to? And what do I really want to be known for? And what do I want my audience to be like hyper aware of the fact that I have that available to sell to them? Okay, and that could be a package, that could be a program, a course, a low ticket, a high ticket. It doesn't really matter, but I really think it's important to feel like you're putting the majority of your eggs in a basket. Okay. Anybody feeling stuck on that, or do we all feel pretty good about like, okay, I've got my signature offer in mind? Awesome. And
Um,
oh
I have a
yeah,
question. I
please.
think because I'm transitioning back into the birth world
Yeah.
and like doing in-person births, I'm a little bit confused on this because I was just like strictly doing just classes.
Hmm.
And so I'm not really sure what my,
Yeah. This is a great question, and I might even help some others. So I feel like ultimately you're going to be the decision maker on this, but like from an outsider looking in, the way I'm feeling about this is that your signature offer is your in-person or virtual birth support, okay? And then things like the course, in my opinion, are like an add-on or an upsell or a downsell. And so it's kind of like what we're trying to establish today is like what is in the center core of everything, and then are there upsells, downsells, add-ons, things that we can have to support the core offer, right? And I know that it still might feel a little fuzzy for you, Jamie, but I think that like as we go through this, you're going to see that if the course is the core offer, then where you position and how you position the in-person birth support in your journey is going to change because now that's clearly like an upsell. Whereas if your in-person birth package is the core, then the course could be utilized in many different ways because it fits in different places. Does that kind of make sense? So that's what I'm trying to help you understand is like what is the core so that we can figure out like how we want the client to move through the journey and if there are multiple routes that they can take that we're really making that efficient and effective and like optimizing that for them, like optimizing that experience for them so we're not bouncing all over the place, if that makes sense. Do you think it would be your in-person package or what's like your gut telling you?
because I am doing in-person births, so like I'm not, it's not like my calendar's, I'm just opening up my entire calendar. I'm only working like 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I'm only taking like 2 births to 3 births max the months that I'm working.
Okay.
And so that's where I'm kind of like, if that is my main offer, where does that leave me for like the months that I'm not taking births, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Okay. So with that said, then I think what you need to kind of map out for yourself is maybe some reverse engineering and even some math to figure out like if you want, let's say, 3 births per month over a 6 month period, right? And so you need to have probably close to 40 consultations. I'm just using kind of round numbers, but like from a conversion stance, and like not everybody's going to be a perfect fit. From there you can kind of figure out like, am I putting my energy into booking consultations to lead them to this core in-person offer? And then what am I doing with the remainder of those leads, right? Because really, truly, like we don't have infinite energy. And so what I'm trying to do today is help you figure out like if I do 18 births in those 6 months that I'm working, what's it going to take to get those booked? And what is that going to equate to in dollars? And what would I have to do if I wanted to make that same amount of money selling my birth course? I would have to sell a lot more of it, right? So that's kind of the math that we all have to face as far as a reverse engineering and like where do we want to be promoting people to? Okay. So if somebody comes into your funnel, let's say from a freebie, and we're kind of pre-qualifying this as like a pregnant mama who could either benefit from the course or in-person support. In a perfect world, we would have them doing both. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I would say if they're in the months that I can support, I'm definitely going to be pointing them to in-person support. Like that's the number
Yeah,
one thing. And then talk about my class and how I would love to have them.
yeah,
Um, but for the other months, I guess I'm going to be pushing virtual if I'm not doing. So I guess that does make sense. Just
yeah.
having doula support in general. Is that too broad though? I guess.
I don't think so because it's birth support, right? It's like on the months that you're taking in person, the messaging is geared toward in person, but on the months that you're doing the virtual support, that's still like packages that I'm gonna guess are in the thousands and or they're up there, they're higher ticket. And the messaging will shift a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like you're their doula at the end of the day. And then I think the course is more of like an add-on or an upsell or a downsell. So none of the leads coming into your funnel are really like getting cut out just because they're not going to hire you for in person. It sounds like you've got other things for them. Yeah. Okay. I love that. That's helpful, I think, for hopefully everybody. And it's okay if you shift this around, and try different things. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, where are we putting our energy? Okay. So now I want to just chat a little bit about like customer journey clarity. Um, because really, like, we know that a confused audience is going to have a really hard time, like, pulling the trigger to make a purchase. And I think like clarity is going to outperform cleverness every single time. So if you're getting bogged down by like, well, I could create this, or this person said this, and maybe I should shift and create this, I want this to be a reason to reel you back in and focus more on clarity than anything else. Okay. So I'll give you kind of like a quick example. I went through this myself and I started having like epiphanies about how at the end of the day, the heart-led method is kind of like the core within my core signature offer. And so I'm going to start really like putting more energy into nailing a consultation because that to me feels like it resonates with my audience more so than like the branding that needs to come before the consult and the visibility that needs to come before the leads are funneled in to book the consult. And then the follow-up that is so important after the consult, that stuff doesn't seem to be resonating with my audience the same way as like the consult itself. And so I want you to start thinking through that lens of like, what are those quick wins? And what is going to make like the journey crystal clear for that ideal client? Like, what can they wrap their head around the easiest? And then once they're in my world, then I can make sure they have all the pieces to the puzzle. Okay. But let's simplify our own sales process by going all in on like that core thing within the core thing that is the most appealing, the most enticing, the most like need to have. Okay. Because I think that's going to simplify and clarify your messaging. Basically, at the end of the day, if we do this right, we want our audience to land on our stuff, whatever that is, long form, short form, whatever it is. Okay, and have a pretty good idea of what we can do for them right out of the gate. And this usually means that we need to simplify a little bit more and get more clarity around the solution, okay? And the problem, okay? Anybody struggling with that right now? Like before we move on, I just want to make sure I'm not like bulldozering through. Like, is anybody kind of like, well, my thing is requires this piece and this piece and this piece, and I don't really know and like needs to workshop it?
So would this kind of be like our like our signature method that we kind of workshopped in whatever call that was.
Yeah, I think for you, Eva, like with this being in-person birth support, even if you are shifting into some virtual support, which I know you have plans for, I think that it's trying to come up with the differentiator and the core outcome. And I think like for you, and obviously again, this is like you're gonna be the decision maker here, but like for you, advocacy comes to mind. It's like how am I speaking about my core offer in a way that separates my core offer from all the other similar ones that are out there. And so, yes, I think pulling in your unique approach and process is 100% the way to do this, but making sure that you're really focusing on the benefits, right? Because if we're not tying our approach to the benefits, then we're kind of missing something. Okay. So yeah, I think most of us are going to use that. Like, definitely in my example, that is the case. Like, the heart-led method is something that I put together. It's part of my core solution, which is nail your consultation, book more clients. And that is the core of Sell to Serve. It's not everything, but it's the core. Does that make sense? So it's like all roads come back to that unique process and the outcome that you get if you choose me, because then you get my unique process. And then it's very crystal clear and simple to understand. Yeah, love that. Anybody else? Yeah, Jamie, I feel like that kind of sums it up for sure. It's a little confusing, but like I'm glad that you understand what I'm saying because it's hard to describe. Anybody else feeling like they would benefit from workshopping this or like not sure?
Yeah.
Natalie?
Okay, so I've been busting my ass with my like core shit over the past
Yeah.
month or so. And the birth like a CEO process, I'm really like diving into
Okay.
wholeheartedly because I created it leads into all the steps necessary to have a birth with full autonomy,
Okay.
especially within the BIPOC community and not having people bulldoze over you because
Yep.
like CEOs don't have people telling them what to do. They tell people what to do and they hire with intention and they move with, you know, purpose.
Yeah.
So I've been really focused on that for a while. And I think everything that I have developed so far kind of leads back to that.
Okay.
Um, and I developed and devised like a framework for it with the acronym of birth and power.
Cool.
Um, ultimately, like it would go down to if I have, let's say, like somebody who doesn't really know what to do, or if they want doula support, I can lead them into like a guidance session
Okay.
that kind of gives them a template or a sheet that breaks down how to advocate for themselves with the CEO mindset. And then, like in my consults leading into my in-person birth services, it goes back to kind of that mindset of like taking control of your birth like a CEO. So would that then technically be the core to my other stuff? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, so let me just make sure I'm definitely like hearing you and I'm on the right page. But in other words, you're saying like the core of my support, so like in this case, in-person birth support, for example, is really like stepping into the role of like I am in charge, I'm doing the hiring, I'm doing the firing. I'm advocating for my vision, okay? And I am making strategic decisions with the tools and the team around me, the medical team or whatever it is, to make sure that I get to that ultimate goal. And so, yes, in my opinion, I think the core of your in-person package is all of the steps that it takes to advocate in that hospital setting, for example. And that is your approach. And basically, if you work with Natalie, you're getting access to the approach, the process that has led to others or will lead to others having the birth that they want, which is making that vision come true. Does that kind of make sense? Like basically what we're doing here is we're trying to nail the messaging so that prospects can get on board with what we're selling. So does that sound like what you were getting at there?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think my struggle is like how to highlight the birth framework with the power mindset that I have without giving away the entire process. Because if I utilize or if I promote the framework and the mindset,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, people already have the steps towards doing that. So it's like, how do
Yeah.
you bring that to the forefront without giving away your whole strategy?
Yeah, I love this question. So the coaches that I have actually hired and invested are all kind of on the same page with this, and I would love to hear like other people's thoughts too, because there's no right way. But I'm really buying into the idea that like give it away because most people are absolutely not going to do the work on their own. Even if they know what the steps are, they are not going to do it or they have no idea how. Okay. So there's a difference between like knowing what it is versus like how to implement it and then having the accountability in order to implement it and the motivation. And then there's so much like so many steps and hacks and proprietary exercises and things within those steps that they have no idea where to even start, right? Or finish. So, as scary as it is, I will say that, like, let's use Instagram, for example. If you're making a reel about like one of your steps within your priority process, you're really not giving it away because they're not going to be able to do it with just one out of this however many steps. They're gonna get stuck. It's inevitable. They're not gonna stay accountable and they're not gonna stay motivated and they're looking to you to literally hold their hand through it. So I think there's a fine line for sure. Like I want you to protect yourself in a way that no one can go and copy it, but at the same token, I really think that it's like people want your support. People want your energy. They want you cheering for them. They want you breaking those step downs and each step down into like really easy to follow steps, none of which they would have just from a reel. You know what I mean? So I think like usually most of the time we can give away more, even if it feels scary. And it's not really giving it away. And I know like Alex Hermosi swears by this, swears by it. Like he even goes as far as saying things like, you know, if you aren't afraid to hit send because you're giving so much away, then it's probably not even valuable enough. Like he's really big on that. Not that like you want bro marketing vibes, but I'm just saying I think there's something to be said about it if he's making billions. Like
Yeah.
so that's that. But again, that's just my opinion. That doesn't make it right. But another coach of mine who a lot of you know will say like you could go listen to 750 of my podcast episodes and piece together a marketing strategy. And I've probably given everything away over 750 episodes and I've said the same thing 1,000 times and still people buy from her every single week because they want you, they want to get walked through it, they want the support, they want the steps, they want the accountability. So that's my take on that. It's not the be all end all. That's just my personal thought on that.
Okay. It
Yeah,
is scary.
it is. It totally is. And again, if that's something where you're like, workshop that in Telegram if needed. Like if you're like, hey, I'm about to post this thing, is my caption like too much? Or like I'm having a hard time knowing like where that would come up for you. But if you start to get examples and you're not sure, like feel free to throw it at us and we can give you our thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, like I posted a blog that kind of dives into the
Yeah.
idea or the concept of birth like a CEO, and
Hmm.
it broke it down into like four simple steps.
Hmm.
But hopefully, like my goal was for that to kind of lead into the framework and the mindset that I have laid out into like a more in-depth
Totally.
concept strategy type of vibes.
Yeah.
So I guess I can throw my blog in the Telegram chat and see how that goes.
Yeah, I really my guess is that like someone reading that's gonna be like, oh my God, I need more of this. Like not the I'm gonna take this, implement it, and I'm never gonna need Natalie. Like usually that's not the case. And I think making sure you've got strong call to actions, like, if this is feeling like what you're looking for, here's my calendar link, book a consultation so we can go deeper on this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome.
Cool.
Love it. Okay, so I want to kind of spend a few minutes doing what I call like a simplicity audit. So, I'm going to ask some questions, and then some you might just ignore because they don't apply. Maybe they all apply, just to help prompt and kind of help us get to the bottom of whether or not we have simplified it. And then I think we should just open it up for like, does anyone need to talk through and kind of like get other perspectives? Okay. So question number one is, which of my offers do I actually love to sell? Which of my offers do I actually love to sell? And if you're like, I only have one offer, Lisa, then, this question might not be as powerful as some of the other ones, but just kind of like want to give you all aspects. Or maybe you hate selling your core offer, and that's valuable information as well. Can a brand new follower tell what my signature offer is? Can a brand new follower tell what my signature offer is? And just for validation, that one, I'm going red flag, Lisa. Like, I don't think that I make sell to serve known enough on my Instagram. So, like, if you need a little validation, I think that there's always room for improvement. And Jamie, like I said, that's really good data because there's no right or wrong way to do this. Like at the end of the day, if you feel more lit up having your course as the core offer and your birth support as like an upsell that you only offer to people that you fall in love with who've taken your course, then it's a strategy shift, but it's not like you messed up, right? Like this is really just like, is there a way to simplify things so that I'm more clear on what I'm doing every day and my audience is more clear on what I have to offer? So there's no right or wrong. Oh, okay. I was like, where are my questions? Okay, if I had to focus on pushing one offer this month, which would it be? And I'm going to throw in and why. If I had to focus on pushing one offer this month, which would it be and why? And that could be tactical too, or strategic or whatever. So, like for me, I'm launching in September. So, I'm actually pushing my freebie more than anything in August in preparation for that. And then come September, that month, I'm going to be pushing sell to serve kind of as the forefront. So, just to kind of give you like what I mean by that. Okay. So now what I would love for you to do is look at, again, we're doing like a little audit, like look at the client journey that you currently have and let's workshop this as a group if needed, but really like what is the simple sales path? So for some of you, it's going to look like there's an entry point, which is often a free thing. From there, there is like a quick win of some sort, and then that leads to the main offer. So that is one of the simplest roadmaps, a very common one. Okay. So is that your situation, or is there something else? And is it working or is it not working? And what does it look like? Okay. So I just want you to spend a moment and really map that out. How many steps is it? Is it too little, too many? Okay. And you could go as far as putting it into a sentence, but it's not necessary. But it would sound something like, someone finds me through Instagram, okay, entry point. And then from there, I guide them to my Booked AF Doula Toolkit. And once they're ready, they step into Sell to Serve, something like that. Okay. So I want you to think about that. Entry point, what are we offering as a quick win? And then once they're ready, what are they stepping into?
So I kind of have a question about that.
Yeah.
Um, like for people who find me maybe on social media, I think that's pretty clear for me. Like what, I mean, at least what I hope the path would be.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of people find me like just from Googling and they find my website. At least currently, that's how I get a lot of leads.
Yep.
And I mean, like if you go to my website, you'll see like my services and I guess there's a call to action to like set up a consult. So would that just be the path? Like literally people find me through Google, find my website, and then they reach out to me for a consult? Is it that simple, or should there be something like should I be utilizing more things on my website that like, pop up and here's my toolkit and then from there they get the toolkit and then go to book a consult?
Good question. So I definitely love the path of least resistance that you're currently on. And I don't think that we should like muddle the water on making them take a next step because in my opinion, like if it's working for you right now where they're finding the website and then they're taking the action to book the consult, that's like a fast track. So I would say like definitely don't mess with that. If you want to establish like more nurturing like while they're waiting for the consult. So let's say they like book a consult and then you have like an automated email sequence that like drops a pre-qualifying intake form or gives them like a quick win or a quick resource that they can click to from the email and gets them hyped up for the consult. Like then I would say that's totally fine. But otherwise I would say I would not mess with women that are finding you through Google or word of mouth, going to your website and booking the consult, that to me is like a win-win. Um, because if we add any additional steps in there, it's kind of like we're backtracking. Because let's face it, like we're not going to make money off of a $17 or $27 offer. That's usually not why we have those. So yeah, so I like that for your consultation flow for sure. And then it sounds like you've got a direct path when they go from Instagram, and that's more of like your passive offer route. Yeah, I love that. Free 5-day email series birth prep leads to the birth class, and that's not currently converting. Jamie, tell us a little bit more about that. Like, where do you think the disconnect might be? How are they getting into the email series from the
Uh,
free?
Currently, it's on my Instagram. Like it's the call to action for almost every single post that I do.
And that's your
Uh,
freebie, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's not, I haven't hardly had anybody sign up for it at all. Like I've sent it, my most recent subscribers are people that like followed me because they saw my flyer in person. And so I sent them, I was like, hey, would you be interested? And they were both like, yes, I would love to try it. And I've had great like feedback from both of them who did it. But sorry, no one is actually like from my post going to that. It's also on my website. Like it's a button.
Yeah.
It's not a pop-up or anything on my website. So that is something that I've been considering doing. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you say that it's not converting, do you have data that shows like how many people are landing there versus how many people are actually giving you their email? Like, so I guess my question is the problem that nobody's
Haven't looked.
landing there? Okay. Because I kind of
I,
had this same conversation earlier with a client today, and it was like, it's like one, there are two different issues in my mind. If like nobody's landing on the landing
I
page.
think that's the problem.
Okay.
Last time I had looked, I have not looked in
Yeah.
several weeks, but when I was looking pretty consistently, that was the problem,
Okay.
is no one was actually going to the landing page.
Okay. And so I think like my guess is that we want to kind of rework, repackage the messaging around really selling this freebie. Like, are we hitting the pain points? Are we really like capturing their desires? Like, is there a very pressing problem that we're solving that your ideal client is like, once they hear the title of this, they're like, I absolutely need that. And
I
if
think the
not,
title is very, I think that is a problem. I'm having trouble, like, again, same thing with my course, like clearly, like when you're saying, is it clear? My answer is no every time
okay.
because I don't know how. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is my biggest struggle. Like I work with ChatGPT and it's just giving like fluff. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that's not the way people talk. That's not what but I am really struggling with like the pain points. So then I'm like, people don't even need this because I don't
Yeah.
even know what their pain points are. I do not
Yeah.
have the clarity. I don't
Yeah.
have it in my head and I'm not able to convey it. I don't think that it's like, none of the clarity is there.
Okay. I think
So,
I do believe that that's not necessarily true. Like I've seen some incredible stuff like come out of you in the last even month. So I think it's like it feels like there's no clarity. I agree there's some like gaps, but like it's not all broken is what I want to say because you just had a consultation and if there was no clarity, no one would even be booking that. So I just want to remind you of the wins too, but I know what it feels like when you're like nothing is clicking. So I think, is there room? And I think you're in that pivot place too, so maybe this would be beneficial all the way around, but is there room to connect back with any of the mamas that you either had worked with or had a consult with or maybe they're even just prospective clients, but like is there a way to kind of like dabble in that market research just a little bit to kind of figure out like why are these women drawn to you? Like, are they drawn to you because you are on Instagram and you're talking about like the role that God plays in your life and how that connects to birth? Are they following you because they watch the way that you're raising your kids and they're inspired? Like, let's try to figure out like what are those things that they're connecting with you on and like make sure that that is really weaved through everything, like through the offer titles, through the freebie, like through all of that, through your messaging, right?
okay.
And remind me your freebie title again.
I'm like, I don't even know what it is because I've changed it
Yeah,
several
I know.
times because um, I was working with Angie on like it's just like I don't even know that it has a title. It was I don't know. It was birth prep was something different. Now it's birth prep. Then it was birth prep reset.
Okay.
Angie was like, that's not clear. So it's an email series. It's like a 5-day email series. And each day is like a different. It's like a quick win each day
Okay.
of different. And it's like got Christian birth prep essentially,
Okay.
like different things, like the holistic Christian birth prep. Like it's like
Yeah.
tiny pieces of the 5 things that I include in my course.
Okay.
And so on my website, I think it just says like free Christian birth prep.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's kind of like the content is there, the context is there, but like the title is not screaming to me
What do
like,
you call it on Instagram? Like when it's
yeah,
your call to action? Like what does your Instagram caption say?
good
The
question.
free Christian birth prep guide, I think is what it, because that's what they've all been saying now. I think like I've changed it so often. I'm like, I don't even know if that's what it says it, but it's something along the lines. Like I think I've tried several different ones just to see if anything resonates. So like some of them say, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Like some of them say 5-day, like grab my 15-minute birth prep series or free 15-minute birth prep series. And then some of them say like grab my free birth prep reset, a 5-day Christian birth prep series. So I've tried like different wording to see if anything specific resonates.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's kind of like it's the customer is always like, what's in it for me? And I think where Angie was going with it is like that's not clear. I don't want
Yeah.
if I give you my email, my precious email that like everybody wants these days, and I've got loads of spam right in my inbox. So we're all being like even more gatekeepy around our email address. It's like, what is in it for me? And sometimes the problem is it's like I also don't want more to-do list items. So I think like again, the value of what you're giving them I know is great, but it's getting them to understand that it's something worth their time and their effort and their email. And so I think it's just the packaging. The packaging is not
I agree
resonating yet.
100%. Like I just
Yeah,
I just don't know how to get it. I don't know how to get it to resonate.
I
On my
know.
page, like the main thing, it says free birth prep series. Like that's what it says like on my in my bio.
Yeah. Eva, do you have
But
any thoughts on that?
I was just gonna say, like, it's really hard for me to like think of what a good title would be without like knowing what's included. If you want to like, I'm happy to give you my email and like if you want to send me it and like I am by no means like an expert at creating amazing titles or anything, but maybe that would like spark some ideas because it's just really hard like the way you're describing it right now for me to like think like, oh, what would I call that, I guess, because I'm not picturing it. But the only idea I can have off the top of my head too is like, is there a way or like a that would easily explain it so with my form. Like I'm trying to speak to people that give birth, are really interested in advocacy, and they want the tools to do that. So mine's the birth advocacy toolkit. So like kind of along the like I do think like, Christian birth are both need to be there somehow. Um, prep, I don't know, but
Yeah.
like where it's not like I think the five. I don't know if this is what Lisa was trying to say, but I think if five in the title kind of makes it sound like more work for them, even like it's like a thing great, but like you might be like, oh, great, these guys that's a lot of work. I'm a,
Sorry, Eva, you're starting to break up a little bit. Oh, there she got lost. But I think definitely, Jamie, like let us help you with title ideas and sometimes when you're staring at your thing like every single day for months, it's kind of like you need outside perspective. So I definitely say lean on us. But yeah, send it over to Eva. She's coming back. There we go. Um but yeah, I almost love like you said it's 15 minutes a day, I think. Like I would even love to hear that like in a tagline like in just 15 minutes a day or blah 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 benefit accomplished in less than a week or you know what I mean like using a title with a tagline that is like super obvious, like this is what you're going to achieve. Here's what's in it for you, and this is how easy it's going to be. And by the way, it's for Christian women. So, like pre-qualifier, benefit driven. But I hear your frustration and I know you're trying. And I think it's like that trial and error phase can be exhausting, but it's just a matter of like connecting with your ideal client and figuring out like what do they feel like they need right here, right now, where they're willing to give you their email. So yeah, maybe we workshop that one in Telegram a little bit. And just keep, I think the answer is we repackage it until it converts, really. Um, and if Instagram captions are not drawing the amount of like landing page views that you'd like, then maybe trying like some Facebook groups where you're dropping it when it's relevant, or, trying to get on a couple podcasts and like spitting out that freebie and selling it that way. Having it in your stories, like just trying all the things. Okay, awesome. So, moving through like the simplicity framework to just make sure that we're covering all bases, there's definitely room, I think, to cut the fat in a lot of places. Ooh, I like this. Connect with God, your baby, and yourself in 5 days with a free email devotional series for Christian pregnant mamas. That is gold. Go figure, Alex. I really like that because it's kind of like, what are you achieving in 5 days? You're connecting with God and your baby and yourself. Okay, who doesn't want to do that? It's only going to take 5 days of your time and it's free. And I even like the devotional series because it's kind of like, oh, well, if I give my email, I'm going to have this like thing on a regular basis. I don't know. It just that's a really great example. So
I
Maybe.
didn't like I can't remember now what you said. Um, like birth prep series or something like that. Like to me, that sounds like that could be like a birth prep course. Like, am I trying to go like click on this link to get a whole thing? I don't want a whole thing. Like, I think
Mhm.
making it sound as simple as
I
possible.
agree. Less work on
Um,
them, on their part.
yeah, and that it is like a quick win. Um, yeah.
I
So.
love that. Yeah, I think this title is really good. So hopefully that helps, Jamie, and I want to make sure you get that so we could always drop that in Telegram if you're unable to grab that out of the chat. But I love that because when I read that, it was kind of like, ooh, that sounds enticing, opposed to like, oh, now I'm gonna have to do like extra work, like to prepare, like it's, and mom's already feeling overwhelmed.
My biggest like that's I love that for like Instagram and stuff, but like whenever you're thinking about like on my website, like a quick button, what do you think? I
You're
can't
muted, Alex.
hear you.
As far as like the button, I would like if you like the word devotional, like I don't know if that works for you. I was like trying to think of I'm like a
That's a good
Christian
idea.
community
It's
adjacent, but like
yeah,
free email devotional series. Like I feel like that fits on a button or
yeah.
um
They're not really devotionals, but I can tweak them to make them devotional like, and I think that that's definitely I think that draws Christian moms in. I think the word devotional is a really good
Yeah,
word to start
yeah,
with.
I'm like
So,
even if it's not technically like it's kind of
yeah.
like your goal
close
is to
enough.
get them to get it, not necessarily that it
Yeah.
like is
And
Yeah,
I can make a few just tweaks to the emails and it can be devotional like. Like they
yeah.
all have a scripture tied to them. Like, yeah.
And I love action-driven buttons too. So like you don't always have to put the title of your thing on the button. You could literally be like, I want to connect more to my baby, exclamation point. And then it's kind of like they're reading that and they're like, oh yeah, of course I'm gonna click that. Like I want to, and then whatever pops up is like the longer. Do you know what I mean? So don't
and
be
then
afraid to do that. Go ahead.
does every email in the series have like a question, like a response, a a call to action to for them to like email you back?
Yeah. And
Does-
several of the latest ones have been emailing me back and like
Yay.
responding, not to all the emails, but to a few of the emails. Like I've been getting responses back, like pretty lengthy, like where they're kind of diving into their birth or like their desires. And the last two that I actually like specifically reached out to and said, "Can I send this to you?" Did respond.
Yeah, because I'd definitely be like sharing those. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing the responses that people are actually sending, just send yourself fake responses and share those. Um,
That's a great idea.
and like that's great for your stories linked to then the landing page of like this is what people are the transformation people are experiencing. Uh, you know, this mama just got day 3 of the 5-day devotional series. This is what she had to say. Blah blah blah.
I love that. Use us. Like I'm happy to send you an email back. Like even if you take the little marker and cross out our emails, like no, I mean, I think
I
everybody really
usually
should
like
know.
screenshot like pieces of what people
Yeah,
say.
love
And so
that.
Yeah,
I think that would be okay. Do you think that's okay without like specifically asking, can I share this? If I'm just taking like little blurbs of what they say?
I
Yeah, I
think
do
so. And
it.
if you like
Okay.
take their name out of it, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They'll probably
Thanks,
be
guys.
excited that you liked it enough to share it, honestly. Like everybody loves that. I really think the packaging is all you need to worry about right now. I think the content itself is probably solid and making sure it's leading them from there somewhere else.
I
Yeah,
agree. I just need help with packaging.
I know. The
So
packaging
thank you.
is always the struggle for everybody.
Hmm.
Okay, one last thing, and then we can kind of open the floor for the last few minutes to just see if anyone wants to workshop anything. But really, like, I think the messaging, like, I'll call it the messaging anchor, when it comes down to the simplicity, is I really want you to have, like, okay, what what could I be on having on repeat? Like, what is the messaging anchor? And what I mean by that is like, what is the number one problem that your audience is dying to solve and fast? Okay. and obviously spin that to work for your offer. Like if it's not a problem, if it's like they're looking for something specific or like they're trying to find their doula, that's their problem, right? So like what is the number one problem that your audience wants solved and fast? What is the desire that they are craving? The most important one, or like give yourself two or three max. And then another good thing to nail down is like, what is the biggest objection holding these women back? What is the biggest objection that you tend to get that maybe they've manufactured in their mind or just like you're going to come up against? And then really start creating your content around those things, all leading to your core offer. Okay. So again, it's like, what is the messaging anchors that all lead to my core offer and making sure that everything is intertwined. Okay. And that repetition always means recognition. So you can't say it too many times. You can't say it too many different ways, because it's going to take a lot to sink in for those buyers. Okay. Um, okay. So I want to open the floor and see if anybody's stuck. Is anybody struggling to either simplify or bring more clarity around their offers or their messaging angles or anything like that? No major hiccups? Ashley.
So like I have my Facebook support group, which I guess I would consider my freebie. And then like also working on like another freebie just to kind of get people in the door to my Facebook group to
Okay.
then like get my signature offer. And so I guess my question is because like the freebie to get them into the support group is more or less like if you're wanting a VBAC, these are the questions you should be asking your provider, and if you consider hiring a doula, these are the questions you should ask, and just kind of like get their brain kind of going on that.
Okay.
Do you feel like having two freebies leading to one signature offer is okay, or like do I need to make I guess I'm kind of stumped after today's.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm going backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on the business. Like, I know that there's a lot of strategies out there where it's multiple freebies leading to the same offer, and that could absolutely work. I think for you, it's kind of figuring out like where are you going to get the engagement? So it's like if you're out there promoting your Facebook group all over the place, and you're positioning it as a place where they're going to get resources like the questions that they need to be asking. It almost helps you sell the Facebook group. And then you're accomplishing two things. You're getting their email, and you're also getting them to be more active in the Facebook group. And you're also like getting them into a container that you can then very easily nurture, run polls and questions. So it's like, I guess my answer to you is that yes, you could easily make two freebies work, all leading to the same place. I'm not convinced that you need that though. Like, I don't know if that strategy is as beneficial to you as maybe somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like where are you going to put your energy? And again, if your energy is all roads lead to the Facebook group, and then once they're in the Facebook group, I'm able to run a monthly workshop where we talk through like the top three questions they should be asking their provider or the top three questions they should be asking their VBAC supportive doula. Maybe you're testing different ways to connect with them. Maybe you're inviting them in a post on the Facebook group to like have a 20-minute one-on-one with you and you only have three spots for the week, or you know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
putting your energy into like how can I get them in my group, and then like what can I do within the group to get them one step closer to jumping on a consult with me, you know? Um, so does that kind of answer your question? Because I think there's even people here, like I'm pretty sure Alex is having more than one freebie that leads to an offer, but I think The reason for that strategy, I'll let you talk to it, Alex, but it's because people are kind of entering her world at different points. So, like, one freebie isn't necessarily going to answer all of those problems, but for you, I think it is a little more streamlined. So, yeah,
No, that makes sense. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you said, Lisa, the Facebook group doesn't light me up, I don't really want to promote it, I don't really want to be in there, I'm going to switch to like a PDF download or something like that, then that's like a different conversation. But trying to run both and promote both could get a little tricky.
Yeah. Because I would definitely have started doing like the polls and like asking like the question of the day kind of deal. And
Yeah.
now like people are starting to get engaged.
Yay.
So like it is lighting me up. So yeah, like I would love, like I feel like it's small now, which is fine because like I feel like there's enough energy right now besides just like life things and trying to keep up with posting and stuff that like I can focus on.
Yeah.
So like I like your idea of just like after doing the survey thing that I've been doing and creating this like prepare for your feedback, like just putting it in the Facebook group because like obviously those are the women that are already like one step closer to being dedicated.
Totally.
So I like that idea.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're getting engagement. That's so exciting. And like, you could even be doing things like, hey, here are the three topics to choose from for next month's whatever. Like, vote on the topic that you are most excited about. Here's the date and the time, and like kind of letting them tell you what they want, right? It's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I think that if the goal is to get engagement and have conversations, I think your Facebook group could be like a streamline to that. So why complicate it with like another freebie that you then have to promote and an email sequence that has to be attached to that? Like maybe your energy is better spent creating an automated email sequence off the back end of the people that jump into the Facebook group, you know? And like
Yeah.
the sequence could be like, I'm so excited. I just approved you for the Facebook group. Like, make sure have you gone in and introduced yourself yet? Or, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
Thinking of you,
Thank you.
Jamie. I hope she's okay. Do what you got to do, of course. Yeah, great question, Ashley, because I think, what you're doing isn't the most common, but I think it's really effective. So I get that you're like questioning like, should I also be doing this or that? But I don't think so, especially because you're working within your community, within your local area. So to me, the Facebook group thing is like such a good idea.
Awesome.
Oh, your mom. I thought you meant like your actual mother, but you meant a mom that you're working with. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh. I hate that. I hate when they fearmonger. All right. And Alex, go for it.
Um, yeah. I feel like I part of my paralysis right now is sort of like stuck in sort of like Aaliyah mode.
Creation.
If you
Like,
know what I mean.
yeah.
I don't I just like I don't know. I maybe we'll talk about this again tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I feel like I felt very like set in working towards the kind of membership model and that being the end goal.
Yeah.
And then and then Emily happened.
Yeah.
And now I just don't know and I'm very like doubt I'm like stuck in paralysis of doubting it, which
Yeah.
I like know from the outside is like really stupid because then I'm not doing anything and I'm like not even like testing it. Whereas like if I just like tried one way or the other again to like get more information, that would be better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I
I
don't
get it
know.
though. I think like the fear is real. Like you don't want to go down the wrong path necessarily. So it's okay to like give yourself a beat to really think it through, just so that you feel like you're making a really like calculated decision. So I would say my advice is just don't beat yourself up about like if you need a little extra time to decide. But where's your gut right now? Like where are you feeling like is gonna feel better and be the right path at this stage? Do you kind of have like a way that you're leaning that we can help you work through?
So what I feel like if I was gonna sum it up, I feel like I would really love and enjoy the community of like doing the membership
Yeah.
of some sort.
Yeah.
I think that what happens is then I go, well, how am I going to make money? I
Yeah.
don't like, because basically, like, that's the voice that's in my head of like,
Yeah.
there's no way to make that profitable. Don't do that. And then I'm like, but if it's great and it's like, I feel good about it, I feel like there's a way to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because we know
Like,
with the
yeah.
membership we need volume, right? Like we know we need
Yeah, because
volume
it
with
can't be
membership.
very expensive. Like it's
Right.
not gonna be
Right.
even like a mid-ticket. Like it's basically gonna be a low ticket and
Yeah.
a membership, but not like they're gonna stay in it for like a long, long time because that's
Right.
not my offer.
Right. So it's kind of like there's so many ways you can spin it, but it's kind of like if we're just spitballing, they're either going to pay month to month or they're going to buy like a 3 or 6 month bundle. But
Yeah.
outside of that, like it's probably not going to be continuing. I do also think though that there's like something to be said about um knowing that you are the especially you're so like creative and resourceful that like I could almost see you like starting here and then seeing like what they need from you to kind of grow with your audience and continue to make offers that could benefit your audience. Or if you're like, I don't really want to do that, then it would just be we got to get as many of these
And it's
mamas.
just like high turnover, like
Uh-huh.
I just get
Yeah.
a ton of moms for the
Yep.
like 3 to 6-ish months
Yep.
that they need my support and then they move on.
Yeah, and then there's a side of my brain that's also like wants to remind you that like for me personally, and I think you'd be the exact same way, like once a woman is like in my world, often they'll buy a lot of different things from me. So like even this week, I'm like looking at like who purchased my one-on-one calls, who purchased this and that. It's like all the same people, which is great because it's kind of like the acquisition cost is one time and then
Yeah.
they like trust you. So it's almost like is there room once they're in the membership to upsell them to different things where you could have a bigger profit margin, right? Like and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that.
Yeah.
So, um, okay,
I was
so
like,
just to
possibly.
clarify, are you kind of seeing it as two roads? Like road one is you repackage your course and relaunch that almost the exact same way, but like with a different title and like just shifting things so that it's for the mama that's um already been kind of like dabbling with baby-led weaning. And then the other road is going the membership route and pitching a low ticket membership and just like aiming for volumes? Or is there like a road that I'm not seeing that maybe you're aware of?
Um, it's basically yes, kind of those two, but honestly, like the membership is kind of me repackaging the course.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's the community sup it's like it's changing the messaging on
Flip-flopping it.
the community and the like access to me and getting your questions answered and the like Zoom calls is the membership, which is what the course was. It's more just like changing the offer positioning on the price of
Gotcha.
like splitting up the cost of the course into like
Gotcha.
month to month sort of, and it might
Yeah.
be slightly less than that, but with higher volume.
Yeah. Yeah. And I almost, okay, that makes more sense. And then also it's almost like you could be strategic about taking your course and like dripping it through the membership so that like as people come in, they are incentivized to stick around for another month because they know what's coming.
Yeah, like there will be like a library of content and stuff kind of available
Yeah.
and doing like monthly workshops that they
Love
have
it.
access to as part of it. But the like main bulk of it is the community and direct support from
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is that where you're leaning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have like 35 people on the wait list for that,
Yeah.
for the club.
Love
Because
that.
right now both of my freebies, because the free class is still running
Yep.
and the PDF freebie is like crazy, and they're both leading to the wait list for the club currently.
And that's all organic right now, right?
Yeah, there's like a little bit of ad spend on the free class still right
Okay.
now,
But not the freebie.
but not the freebie.
And that's doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the high volume, low ticket strategy, I feel like is a really tough one to tackle, but like I think you're already there.
Yeah.
Like I just think based on the way your podcast has exploded, the way that like your Instagram is explode, like I just think that I think what's getting in the way of you doing the membership is just those logical fears of like I don't see the end game yet. Um, and I think maybe it is just a matter of like doing the thing and seeing what it evolves into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cassie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I need to just like pull the trigger probably on that and like open it to the waitlist people,
Yeah.
do a big like final, because I have never even talked about the waitlist on my Instagram. Like the only way they even find out about it is like through getting a freebie.
Yeah.
But if I did like one more push on the waitlist and then opened it for
Yeah.
founding members.
Yeah, and do it messy. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know what your plans are with the membership software wise and all of that, but like people don't need much. So
yeah,
you maybe that'll take some of the fear away because it's such a low cost to put together and it's a trial and like you're not married to anything, you're not paying $100 a month to have a school,
no,
whatever, you know what I mean? And I think that like that's the beauty of you working with these postpartum mamas is like they just want you. They don't need bells and whistles, you know?
yeah, okay,
Well, if you want to, of course, just jump into Telegram if you feel like you want to bounce anything on, get people's perspective. But I just want to validate, like when you're at that crossroads, it's so hard because you don't know what's on the other side of it. So it's just a weird, scary, like paralyzing place to be. But I think you're working through it. So just keep
yeah.
at
Other people's businesses are just so much easier. Ah,
it.
but
Oh,
yeah,
I love it.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I wonder what like is there something underneath that? Like of course my brain goes like, let's dig into that for a moment. Like is it easier because you don't have to feel attached to that outcome and like you know like there's no risk involved? Like dig into that for a day and just kind of like feel out like
Yeah, probably like all the things you're thinking.
yeah, like and like so I think play a game with yourself of like, okay, if I were looking at anybody here's business from the outside, what advice would I give them? Like and just see what comes up, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. Cassie.
Glad you're enjoying this, Cassie.
Glad we can entertain you, Cassie. Oh my gosh. This was such a good call. I really love these discussions and let's continue the convo in Telegram and I will drop the replay and I just appreciate you all being here live. All right. Okay.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.